Hello, and welcome to the Dog Savant podcast. My name is Brett Endies. I am a professional dog trainer, and I am your host. The purpose of this podcast is to share my dog training experience. If you have a dog and you'd like to learn more about how to train your dog, solve their behavior problems, or just understand more about the human-dog relationship, or the life of a professional dog trainer for that matter. If you're a real world client and you'd like to supplement the information that we work on in the real world, and if you're just someone who is interested in another podcast and my life, this is for you. I always ask, please don't forget to rate, review, share, subscribe on iTunes, tell your friends. On social media, it is at The Dog Savant, S-A-V-A-N-T. I'm also going to re-promote my Patreon page since we are now working more online than in the real world. I'd like to put out more content and I'd like to give bonus content. So please, you can go on there. You can support me in any way you can. It is patreon.com/The Dog Savant. I've always kind of shunned that sort of thing, but you know what? I'm going to be having more time to give more offerings and kind of transfer some of the real world stuff into the online community here. So why not, right? We have to make a living and I want to put more stuff out there for you, more quality content. Let's see, I'm also offering one-on-one training virtually right now via FaceTime, Zoom, telephone if you prefer, and they're really seeming to work. I've been doing this now for the past month since we've gotten into the whole COVID-19 pandemic and you can't do one-on-one or group training, and it's actually been helping a lot of dog owners. So it's been definitely helping me as well make a living, but if you are someone who is not in the Colorado or Los Angeles areas where I was normally doing dog training, or am now doing more in Colorado here, or trying to, I can help you because I have more time here and I set myself up here. We're getting a whole studio so I can do some one-on-one with you, both coaching you through the camera and also demonstrating with my dogs and giving supplemental videos and content to help with the sessions we do. So contact me. You can go on my website. I have two now. I have one for Colorado. It is gooddogcolorado.com. It's great, beautiful new site. Really highlights, my all of what I do and the years of experience of me, training dogs. And of course, Dog Training LA or thedogsavant.com. That's my Los Angeles-based site. Either one will get you to contact me. You can also directly at dogtrainingla@gmail.com or info@thedogsavant.com. How's that? That's a mouthful. All right, so I wanted to take you through a little tour. If you've been following me on social media, I've been setting up the little homestead here. I think I might even do the IG Homestead podcast and maybe some videos with my girlfriend Kate, who we're doing this stuff together here. Anyway, I just want to figure I'd do, and then also I would talk to you a little bit about crate training. I just think, I just brainstormed these ideas and I thought maybe do another little primer on that subject. So let's start here in the kitchen with the chickens. We've got 8 of them. We got the bigger group that we got a week or so, about a week and a half earlier, I think it is. And then we got the 3. They're getting pretty big. They're getting their feathers now. And we do a lot of outdoor time. It's still, believe it or not, here the end of April, and it's blizzard here this week. We're still fixing up the coop as well. We don't want them getting eaten. There's a lot of wildlife, bears, coyotes, fox, and other things that may get to them. So we want to make sure we got that all shored up before we put them in there without watching them. But they're doing free range time. But for now, they're in these, if you've ever seen pictures that I post, they're in these big Rubbermaid bins that we convert into little chicken coop areas. There they are here. I love them. They're cute. We've been hand raising them. The 5 original ones, they're 3 different breeds. What are they called? I forget. I'm not even going to try. My daughter and Kate knows better than me. And then we got these 3. These are hybrids. And they're great. It's fun. Hopefully they'll be producing eggs in some months here. We feed them all types of food, nice feed that's going to produce nice healthy chickens that lay healthy eggs. Quite frankly, I don't know if me hand raising these animals, I could actually make them food for me, but what they make for me will be good. So we're exciting. So make eggs for me, guys. So that's the chickens. We care for them every day. They're not that hard. When we started, they were really tiny, but you have to change their feed. They poop a bit. You have to, especially as they get bigger. Hi, KFC. That's my favorite, the KFC. Hi, I think she's a girl. We're sexing them soon. We're pretty sure most of them are females, but you never know. We'll see. We'll find out soon enough. They got water. They always poop in that and spill it, so we got to deal with that from time to time. The younger ones still have a heat lamp on them, even though they probably don't need it. We keep them also near a baseboard heater so they're warm enough, and give them lots of natural sunlight during the day when they're not outside. But they're fun, they're rewarding, they're pets. I love them. That's why I don't think I could eat these guys. But they're also gonna give us something. And what I'm doing, and I'll talk about it in a second, is I'm growing microgreens so that I can feed them for free. I've been learning a lot on YouTube from other people. I've wanted to do this for a good 15 plus years, so I'm pretty, astute to what I've learned. Now I'm actually applying it and learning more in an applied way. They said applied twice? Sure. Here I got a couple trays of microgreens in the kitchen ready to be clean. We harvested a bunch today. Man, it's like I got to create all these recipes now of what to do with the microgreens. There's so many different flavors. We're sampling which grow better, which we like more. So here we're in the greenhouse. You might hear a hum in the background. That's our tank for our rainbow trout, and they're little. Unfortunately, we're still dialing it in, so we lost some, we had some casualties of war here, but a lot of them are going strong. And the way aquaponics works, it's that their waste creates nitrogen product that we filter out into a liquid source that creates it's a hydroponic system, but they call it aquaponics, is using fish poop. And we're growing all sorts of things. So I'm here by the grow bed that I built. I use 95% reclaimed materials, not reclaimed scrap materials that were just left around the property, in the garage, in the workshop that's here on the property, that I just kind of pulled off some odds and ends. I had to take down one part of the garage wall that was part of the shop that I'll replace just to get a good long sheet of plywood. But pretty much it cost me about $50 to build. And this is, this thing's got a lot of weight. There's these clay pellets, which is the growing mediums, which the roots grow within. And then the water rises and drops as the system circulates. And it uses, again, the water. It goes from one stage to the next, and then it ends up clearing the water by the roots of the plant sucking up the nitrogen that was in the waste product of the fish, and then it circles back into the fish tank and they get their fresh water. So it's all just one big system, and it's pretty good. It's obviously a free way that you can get nutrients for your plants. We have to buy fish food. I talked about in my last podcast, Don't Be Like the Trout Lady, my fish food fiasco. Happy ending. The guy did actually send me the packages of fish food we needed. I'm glad, because they really loved it. And then even more so, I got here from Skredding, which is apparently one of the best wild fish foods you can get. And I got to start a hatchery to use all of this food. I thought, I'm like, wow, this food's $200 for all this, and I thought it was going to be, this is like 50-pound bags. One of them is, for little fingerling fish, it's flakes. I could have tank after tank and not run out of it. So hopefully it won't go bad. It's got a year shelf life, but we're stocked for a long time here with trout food. We've got also here, let's talk about them because I posted a lot, microgreens. So we've got a rack here. We're going to add a second rack. We're going to be able to do here 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and the other one has 4 racks. So that'd be 36 trays, maybe even more if we can add to it, of microgreens. And these grow pretty quickly. So some of these, I'm surprised, like in a week they're ready. Some of them take a little longer. Just some of what we got now. Let me read. We've got wheatgrass growing. We've got leek. We've got buckwheat. We've got basil. We got mustard. I love the mustard. I'm gonna eat some right now. Mustard's good. It's got like a spice to it. Mixed greens. They're really cool. They grow so quick. Really easy to grow too. Then I got some other plants that are going to go into the hydroponic system or into other grow beds. I got dill. I've got, what do I call it? Zucchini. So much zucchini. That's what all this huge stuff is here. They're going to turn to zucchini before I can transplant. Char, Swiss char, more basil. And I got a bunch of other microgreens growing here. But we got a lot of action here, so it's rewarding. It's cool. I made myself this microgreen stir fry that I, as always on YouTube, learned how to make, and it was delicious. So it's free food, right? It costs 50 cents to make, and I get multiple meals out of it and food for the animals. Dogs love it too, apparently. So Minnie, who eats anything, we play What Won't Minnie Eat. Minnie, as long as it's safe for her, she loves the microgreens. So we got a winner there. The chickens, most of them like it. You can use it for any leftovers of the roots or the soil or plant matter. We can use for compost to fertilize other gardens. We're actually going to extend the greenhouse once we get a month, if any, of summer. I'm going to dig out where there's this old rotted deck, build out, dig low so we can get some heat from the geothermal warming, I believe they call it, and get us a nice, just more soil-based kind of greenhouse. Maybe try to get some tropical plants if we can get some warm climate in there by digging deep. So stay tuned. That'll be another project. Anyway, so that's the homestead. Here I got the dog room. They're not really doing much, but just being companions and fun and entertainment and a little bit of guardians. Minnie's the chicken lady there. She's good at guarding the chickens. Let me take this away. They were getting some steak snacks and sit. Good boy. I got to take that foil because any dog with steak juices on it, it'd be hard to resist not trying to chew on that foil, and poop is not what we want today. All right, so what was I going to talk about? Crate training. I talk about a lot of these subjects many times over. I just always figure that if I can give, different takes on it on a different day, after I had a different experience with a client or something that I've evolved in my understanding, why not? I've been doing this podcast for a good 2 years, so why not always update the content so you get a refreshed version of it or a reiteration of what you might already know. All right, so crate training, right? We want to do this with puppies. Every puppy should learn to be introduced to a crate. I personally, as far as the style of crate, prefer a solid enclosed crate. I find that just by patterns being reported to me, dogs, puppies, they feel more secure in a dark, enclosed, sensory deprived space. They also just, with the more weakness of the wire crates, dogs have more options in their mind to try to escape. They also, the open air, it's hard for them to settle. With potty training, for the same reason, sometimes the open air makes it harder for them to see that if they go to the bathroom, it's actually in their living space. Dogs, sometimes reasoning isn't their strong suit. So I just find if you get one, if you have a wire crate, don't fret. You can just cover it. Usually it works. It creates all those things I just described. But for some more dogs that are resistant or strong dogs, or you're dealing with an adult dog, you've got to introduce this to address separation anxiety, to create structure in their daily regimen. You might be better off with a solid walled crate, the plastic all the way up to they make the gunner kennels and everything in between, where they have these aluminum welded crates that are for stronger dogs, working dogs, more anxious dogs. All right, so the way you introduce the crate is you want to do it, of course, in a positive way. You want to make a dog see it as part of their daily regimen. When they're in it, good things happen to them. Sometimes you do have to give them a little influence, give them a little tuck on the tush there to get in. No big deal. As long as you're not dragging them in. Sometimes you have to just leave the door open and acclimate them. But if it's a puppy, just put them in day one. They'll whine a little bit. That's another thing we'll talk about here in a sec. How to deal with it when your dog does resist more than just physically not wanting to go in. But ideally, you want to lure them in. You want them to learn it when they're in there. They eat. They get their treats. They get a special toy, something to chew on and occupy. And it's not punishment. You're not just throwing them in when they do something naughty. If anything, that's the last time you want to put them in. You want to just like, hey, I'm here watching TV, hanging out. Why don't you just go in your crate next to the couch, or you can sleep beside my bed in your crate. Sometimes I'll leave the room. Sometimes you'll sleep in another room in the crate. Just more random, just an hour here, an hour there. And if you go back onto any of my potty training episodes, or just the concept of potty training, I didn't invent it. Usually a crate is going to be randomly used throughout the day, especially with a puppy, because they're going to need to be in it just at certain times to be able to hold it and stay safe. And if they're alone, you don't want them to get into trouble. So just by default, just a lot of times the hard part is people's personal opinion on, I don't want my dog in a crate. I don't believe in crates. Well, that's your problem. And also how a dog reacts. Sometimes people have a hard time with their heartstrings being pulled. They think their dog's getting traumatized, or they think it's getting, the dog's feeling that they did something wrong, or it's jail and whatnot. And you go slow, but if a dog whines 15, 20 minutes of fussing, it's not a big deal. Again, if a dog can get hurt, or there's real distress, or the dog goes to the bathroom, you have to take them out and deal with it. But for the most part, you don't want a dog to learn cause and effect, that if they make a fuss, you're going to let them out, because they're going to do it more and stronger as it accomplishes itself. So you want to make sure that you're really kind of neutral in assessing, hey, my dog's fussing when I leave the room at first. when they're in the crate, when I close the door. Is it bad? Are they dying? Did they go to the bathroom? I can peek. Okay, they're fine. Let them bark it out. 99.9% of dog owners tell me that when they just kind of let it go and they just see it more rationally than emotionally, as I talk about often, the dogs get over it. And then the dogs actually go in it more readily. And you want to teach them a crate command, so you want to also lure them in. So it's not just putting them in and throwing a treat. You want to actually, if you can get a dog to be willing to go in, you want to kind of lay that breadcrumb trail. So from further and further, you want to build where you lure them with a treat in, tell them crate or bed or kennel, whatever you like. And they learn that there's not just like that the secondary treat, there's a primary lure to get in there. So it becomes a command, not just something that they're just dealing with. You just, every time they go in, you got to push them in. That's not how it should be. Separation anxiety. I've done and will do continued podcasts on this subject, but in general, the dog probably, you would use it if it's complementary to the structured, regimented, daily, existence that you create that would carry over to your dog not having separation anxiety. But it usually is very helpful. And the same things I had just talked about with puppies, you want to make it part of their daily routine, get them used to being in it just as part of their day, whether you're home or not. A lot of mistakes people make with dogs that they're working on separation anxiety or puppies is they put the dog in the crate, and then they just close it and leave, and then they're back after. And the dog just learns, hey, every time I go in that, you leave, instead of like, oh, like I said, it's just part of my daily routine. It's good things happen when I'm there, but it's just life. And the thing about dogs being, especially for potty training puppies or dogs that just need to be more confined in a crate or in a place I have owners, implement, it's you supplement it with walks, with exercise. You make sure the dog gets out there. So I do Get Out There With Your Dog videos, and I do videos of my dogs running and playing so that they can lay around. Sometimes I'm busy. Sometimes I can't just give my dogs endless coddling all day. They lay in their beds, they hang out, because they know if today or tomorrow they're going to get some exercise and enough steps in and calories burned to get their fill. And we go hiking, and you do all these things to give them this contentment, so when they're in a home or stuck in one spot for training purposes or just for the needs of their own ability to relax, they're content with it, and it's fair to them, and everything is all good and fine and dandy. All right, so I guess we're petering out at that point if I'm saying fine and dandy. But so crate training, good. Not every dog needs it. If your dog's balanced, it's not part of your issues. If you have a leash issue and your dog's calm in the house, and an adult without potty issues or anxieties, might not be really what would just fix. But a lot of trainers will say just use a crate. It's not that simplistic. But using it in a complementary way to a holistic training program and rehabilitation program, it is definitely helpful in many, many instances, especially with young dogs, anxiety cases, or just creating structure in your dog's life. All right. So again, please don't forget, it really helps. It makes me happy. So don't, subscribe, review, tell everyone this podcast helps them if it's helped you. And also please contact me with questions. You can email me. Let me know how I can maybe help you. If you want to do online training, contact me if you have any questions or if you'd like to schedule. And go on my Patreon. I'd love to see anyone who's willing to support me here virtually. Patreon.com/The Dog Savant. All right, everyone. Stay safe. Hang in there. Thanks again. Have a good day.